Hi, I'm Ellie Falk, the Youth Education Coordinator at the Civic Garden Center, and this is our second online training session. If you missed the first one, that was best practices for teaching outdoors, and this one is outdoor learning year-round. So during this training, I'd like to give you an overview of the Civic Garden Center's resource and activity examples for each season to inspire year-round outdoor learning. In particular, I will focus on the Civic Garden Center's 52 Weeks in the School Garden Guide, which is available on our website, and I'm going to highlight activities for all of the 4 seasons. So you can access our 52 Weeks in the School Garden Guide on our website. This QR code will take you there, as well as the link www.civicgardenCenter.org/teacher-resources. It is on that page, as well as many other resources that we have developed over the years with our educators in mind. So please do check out this guide, as well as other resources you can find on that page. This guide is set up to go through the weeks of the year, beginning in January all the way through December, with ideas of what you can do with students outside. Many of the activities can be applied to any type of outdoor green space or natural setting. It is not only for gardens. So since the guide begins in January, we will start with activities that you can do in the winter time. This time of year, our trees have lost their leaves, and it is a great time to practice tree identification using branch structure and bark. Many of us learn our trees based on their leaves. Well, what do you do in winter when you can't see those leaves? Studying the branch structure and bark is another way that we can identify a lot of trees, and it's a tool that you can use particularly easily in the winter time. Also, because trees don't have their leaves, it's a easier time perhaps to see our birds that are still active in the winter. So you can study bird identification, and there's a dozen or so common birds that you can still see in the winter time. You can set up a feeder in a tree to attract them, or just do some observation while you're outside on your school grounds and look for those birds. Cardinals or blue jays, because of their bright colors, are particularly easy to spot in the winter. You can kind of document your time outside in the winter with drawings or photos. You can do this periodically, and that might help students notice change that happens in the winter. It really isn't just a season of gray and cold. There actually is a lot happening with the ground, and the freezing and thawing might kind of create heaving of soil, or certain plants start to grow pretty early on in our winter. So you may notice buds or little green shoots starting to come up. So it's a great time to look for those. You can also study plant and animal adaptation for winter survival. So with our animals, you can talk about hibernation, migration, and staying active to survive the winter. And plants have interesting adaptations as well. There's dormancy, of course, but then there's also plants that use other techniques to survive the winter months. In the spring, it's a great time to plant directly into your garden beds. You can start planting seeds in mid-March, typically in our region, for cool weather edible crops like lettuce, carrots, spinach, kale, snap peas, radishes. There are more than that, but those are just a few. Our spring weather is dynamic, and it can be a nice time to collect the weather data and start to notice if there are any patterns. It's also just nice to, go out and observe clouds or measure rainwater in a rain gauge, or see which direction the wind is blowing. If you hang a windsock, have a thermometer outside and you can see the temperature. By April, mid-April for sure, typically in our region, there are many flowers that are blooming. So you can use these flowers to study the parts of flowers. You can talk about pollination. It's a great way to notice colors and signs of spring. And lastly, exploring food webs in the garden in springtime is great. We have lots of insect activity, animal activity like birds and squirrels and rabbits. So you can discuss how all of those animals and our plants are connected through a food web. The summer, often for a school garden or school grounds, is kind of a resting season, and I think that is absolutely okay. If that is the case at your school, then it's good to plan for that to be a very low maintenance time in the garden or your outdoor spaces. So make sure that you have kind of prepared your gardens appropriately with either low maintenance crops, a cover crop, or even just covering all your soil to protect it and kind of create a barrier so that weeds don't overgrow while no one is tending to the garden. You can also invite community members to look after the outdoor spaces in the summertime. This can be done by assigning weeks to different families or having volunteers coming at various times. However you think it is best to structure it for your school, there are successful ways to do this. And if you are planning to be in the garden over the summer and you're inviting students and community to come and join you while you are there, it's a great time to have their help taking care of the garden, harvesting the food that is growing there, and eating together. You can also study insects or make nature art. The garden is full of possibilities of activities for the summer months if you choose to have it be an active space. The fall is a great time to harvest things that have been growing, especially if you were maintaining your garden through the summer months. If not, you can plant again in the fall and harvest what you've planted in late November. Students really enjoy eating what they have grown in the garden. Fall is when our leaves are changing colors and dropping from the trees, so you can study leaves pretty well in the fall, identify trees based on their leaves, doing leaf rubbings. Those are all great activities. And it's also a great time to learn about decomposition and composting as things are starting to kind of fall to the ground and decay naturally this time of year. You can intentionally be composting in your garden. You can study the critters that are in the compost, certainly critters that are in the soil, and helping with the decomposition that is happening there. So lots of possibilities. Those were just a few highlights for each season. I want to leave you with my contact information as well as the contact information for my colleague, Mary Dudley. We would love to work with you and help you plan your year-round outdoor learning, so please feel free to reach out to us. Thanks so much.